The story of the orphan trains begins with an unquestionable enigma: the sheer scale and frequency of these trains. It was as if an invisible hand orchestrated a vast, clandestine migration. Between 1854 and 1929, more than 250,000 children were transported from eastern cities like New York to rural America. But who were these children, and why were they so numerous? One cannot ignore the whispers of entire orphanages emptying overnight. Consider this: the New York Foundling Hospital, under the supervision of the enigmatic Sister Irene Fitzgibbon, reportedly saw hundreds of children vanish from its records without a trace. Yet, the official narrative suggests that these were merely orphans in need of homes, victims of a city's harsh life. But delve deeper, and you find a peculiar anomaly. Numerous reports from towns across the Midwest told of children who spoke languages unheard of, even by the most traveled settlers. In 1861, a farmer in Indiana recounted meeting a boy who spoke a guttural dialect, filled with sounds and inflections that defied any known European language. Was this an isolated anomaly, or a hint at something far larger? The gatekeeper in this saga is none other than the Children's Aid Society, whose records and archives remain tantalizingly out of reach. Under the leadership of Charles Loring Brace, an unassuming figure with a grand vision, the society operated with an opaque fervor that raises suspicion. Brace, a man lauded in public, privately maintained correspondence with influential industrialists of the day, men like Cornelius Vanderbilt and Andrew Carnegie, whose interests in burgeoning railroad empires conveniently aligned with the orphan train routes. The impossible unfolds in the mechanics of the trains themselves. Witness accounts speak of locomotives running at speeds that defied the era's engineering constraints. In 1870, a newspaper clipping from the Omaha Bee described an orphan train that, inexplicably, traveled from New York to St. Louis in under a day, a feat unattainable by conventional steam engines of the time. These mechanical marvels, shrouded in smoke and mystery, emitted a low hum that passengers claimed resonated not from the engine, but from the very air around them. Atmospheric landscapes frame this mystery, as eyewitnesses describe an otherworldly aura enveloping these orphan trains. Farmers in Kansas reported seeing halos of light hovering above the trains as they passed through desolate plains. Some claimed the light was not a reflection of the sun, but an emanation from the trains themselves, casting an eerie glow on the surrounding fields. Was this mere atmospheric trickery, or a manifestation of hidden technology? The skies whispered secrets that the Earth's rulers dared not unveil. Amidst the rolling thunder of the trains lies the unsettling truth of lost identities. Many children arrived at their destinations with no record of their origins, stripped of names and pasts. In 1875, a minister in Missouri documented the arrival of a girl who bore an intricate, silver medallion, etched with symbols that baffled local historians. The medallion, a relic of unknown provenance, suggested a lineage far removed from the streets of New York. This artifact, and others like it, were quickly sequestered by enigmatic collectors, their intentions shrouded in secrecy. The official records, or lack thereof, present another anomaly. The 1887 report by Detective Edward Lansbury, commissioned to investigate the unusual disappearances, vanished without a trace. Lansbury, described as dogged and unyielding, vanished himself after penning a letter hinting at a conspiracy involving powers beyond earthly governance. His disappearance was dismissed as a voluntary departure by the authorities, a convenient explanation for those who wished to silence inquiry. As for the children themselves, their accounts, though sporadic, are hauntingly vivid. Henry, a boy from a train that departed in 1892, described a fleeting glimpse of a grand city, suspended in the clouds, its spires reaching toward the heavens. His recollection, dismissed as mere fantasy by those who heard it, was corroborated by other children, each detailing a similar vision. Was this collective imagination or a shared memory suppressed by a veil of disbelief? Enter the realm of forbidden archaeology. where unearthed artifacts tell stories of civilizations unaccounted for. In 1899, a peculiar excavation near the railroad tracks in Nebraska revealed artifacts of advanced metallurgy, an alloy of unknown composition, resistant to both corrosion and time. The archaeologists' findings, published briefly before disappearing from public record, suggested a technology lost to history. The site, now guarded by unmarked agents, remains off-limits to independent researchers. The narrative's gatekeepers, the institutions maintaining the official history, have consistently rebuffed attempts to reopen these shadows of the past. Universities such as Harvard and Yale have actively suppressed studies that challenge the mainstream narrative. Professors who dared to explore these forbidden truths faced academic exile, their reputations tarnished by insinuations of lunacy. In 1915, Professor Eliza Morrow, a pioneering historian, was ostracized for her theory linking the orphan trains to an ancient lineage. Her works now languish in obscurity, whispered about in hushed tones among those who dare to question. The air crackled with tension as the orphan trains, laden with their cargo of forgotten souls, journeyed into the unknown. In 1901, a series of inexplicable phenomena were reported by residents along the train routes. In the small town of Quincy, Illinois, the sky darkened at midday as a train passed through, casting an oppressive shadow over the town. Birds silenced their song, and the townspeople, gripped by an unspoken dread, whispered of a malevolent presence that rode with the children. Such atmospheric disturbances were not isolated incidents, raising the specter of forces unseen but palpably felt. The trains themselves, once ordinary steam engines, seemed to transform under the weight of their mysterious mission. An engineer, James Hawthorne, reported in 1903 that his locomotive emitted sounds beyond the spectrum of human hearing, a piercing, harmonic resonance that unsettled the crew. He claimed the engine's pistons moved with a preternatural smoothness, as if propelled by more than steam. Hawthorne's accounts, dismissed as the ravings of a fevered mind, were nonetheless consistent with similar reports from other train operators who dared speak out. Meanwhile, at the heart of this enigma, the children themselves were shrouded in mystery. In 1905, a young girl named Clara, adopted by a family in Kansas, began speaking of a past life in a land of perpetual twilight. She described towering beings of light and shadow, guardians of a realm hidden from mortal sight. Her adoptive family, deeply religious, feared her visions were the work of the devil, and Clara was soon sent to an asylum. Yet her vivid descriptions matched those in obscure texts found in the hidden alcoves of the Vatican Library, hinting at forbidden knowledge that transcended time and space. The influence of powerful institutions, determined to maintain the status quo, cannot be overstated. The Smithsonian Institution, a bastion of academic authority, has long been accused of concealing evidence that might disrupt the accepted narrative of human history. In 1910, a collection of artifacts linked to the orphan train phenomenon vanished from their archives. These items, rumored to include maps of uncharted territories and devices of unknown origin, were said to hold the key to understanding the true purpose behind the trains. Yet, as with so many pieces of this puzzle, they were quietly removed from public view. As the orphan trains receded into the annals of history, they left behind a legacy of unanswered questions and unsettling truths. The landscape of America, dotted with communities shaped by these children, bears silent witness to a grand experiment in social engineering. But beneath the surface lies the specter of manipulation on an unimaginable scale. In 1918, whispers of a clandestine network known as the Brotherhood of the Orphans began to surface, a secretive group purportedly tasked with maintaining the veil of secrecy surrounding the orphan trains. Their existence remains unconfirmed, yet their legacy is felt in the shadows of every untold story. The veil of secrecy surrounding the orphan trains thickens when one considers the peculiar disappearance of entire records during transit. In 1912, an unprecedented fire consumed a New York City archive building, one that curiously housed extensive documents related to the Children's Aid Society. Eyewitnesses reported seeing men in dark suits enter the building hours before the blaze. Yet no investigation followed. Official reports attributed the fire to faulty wiring, a convenient conclusion that left many questions smoldering in its wake. Could this have been an orchestrated incineration to erase the inconvenient truths hidden within? The orphan train's routes, curiously, intersected with sites known for their anomalous properties. In 1914, a surveyor named Samuel Fenton documented a series of magnetic anomalies along a route in Pennsylvania. His compass, reliable until then, spun wildly, and metal objects behaved as if charged by an unseen force. Locals spoke of a place where the Earth's energy seemed to pulse with a life of its own. These inexplicable electromagnetic fields were dismissed by authorities as mere fluctuations, but those who experienced them knew of their uncanny power. The children, meanwhile, carried the echoes of a forgotten lineage. In 1916, a boy named Thomas, adopted by a family in Ohio, exhibited a prodigious talent for languages, effortlessly deciphering ancient scripts that baffled scholars. His uncanny ability was attributed to a rare gift, yet Thomas insisted he was simply recalling what was once familiar. His claims of an ancestral memory connected to a lost civilization were met with skepticism, and his talents eventually faded into obscurity. What knowledge did these children carry, concealed beneath layers of forgotten history? The academic world, a fortress against the encroachment of forbidden truths, has played its part well. In 1917, the University of Chicago abruptly ended a promising research project exploring the origins of the orphan train children. The lead researcher, Dr. Harold Whitaker, was pressured into silence and eventually resigned. His findings, which hinted at a connection between the children and an uncharted history, were sealed under the guise of national interest. Institutions shielded themselves behind a wall of denial, ensuring that the threads of this narrative remained tangled in obscurity. The orphan trains, now a footnote in American history, continue to cast long shadows over the present. Their legacy, intertwined with whispers of ancient bloodlines and hidden agendas, challenges the very foundations of accepted history. In 1919, a clandestine organization known as the Custodians emerged in whispers among those who sought the truth. Allegedly tasked with preserving the true history of the orphan trains, their existence is shrouded in myth. Yet, the persistence of their legend suggests that the true story of the orphan trains is still waiting to be uncovered, lurking in the forgotten corners of time. The story of the orphan trains does not end with the mere relocation of children. In the early 1920s, remnants of their passage continued to stir the imagination and fuel the fires of conspiracy. In 1920, a hidden compartment was discovered in an abandoned train car near the outskirts of Chicago. Inside were documents and artifacts that defied conventional understanding, a map detailing routes not found on any standard railroad chart, and a peculiar device resembling a compass, yet devoid of any needle or recognizable mechanism. These items, before they could be properly examined, disappeared into the vaults of an unnamed institution. The children once thought lost to time have left an indelible mark on the landscape of America. In 1921, a census in a small Colorado town revealed an unexpected demographic anomaly. A disproportionately high number of residents reported ancestors who arrived via orphan trains. These descendants, displaying a diverse array of talents and features, seemed to share an unspoken connection, an affinity for the land, a propensity for innovation, and an unyielding curiosity about the unknown. Such clusters, replicated across the country, suggest a deliberate seeding of populations, perhaps with a purpose yet to be fully understood. As whispers of the orphan train's true purpose permeate the fringes of society, personal accounts from those who were part of this great experiment begin to surface. In 1922, An elderly man named Joseph, once a child aboard the trains, recounted visions of guardians of the light who spoke to him in dreams, guiding him to safety. These visions provided him with knowledge of herbal remedies and ancient rituals unknown to modern medicine, which he used to heal local ailments. Joseph's testimony, while dismissed by many, offers a glimpse into the deeper spiritual connections that may have woven through the lives of these children. The institutions that once orchestrated the orphan trains have since disbanded or transformed, yet their influence echoes through time. In 1923, a gathering of historians and descendants held a clandestine meeting in Boston, seeking to unravel the threads of their shared history. At this meeting, a document surfaced, allegedly a manifesto penned by Charles Loring Brace, which outlined a vision not of social charity, but of a grand experiment in human development. The document, which hinted at eugenic and alchemical principles, was quickly dismissed by mainstream historians as an elaborate hoax, yet its existence continues to intrigue those who question the accepted history. As the sun sets on this chapter of American history, the orphan trains remain an enigma wrapped in layers of myth and reality. Their legacy, intertwined with the mysteries of lost civilizations and forgotten knowledge, challenges us to question the very foundations of our understanding. In 1924, a curious artifact linked to the trains was found, a time-worn journal, its pages filled with cryptic symbols and drawings of fantastical machines. This journal, now locked away in a private collection, is a testament to the enduring mystery of the orphan trains, a story that refuses to fade, whispering to us from the shadows of history, urging us to uncover the truths hidden just beyond our reach. In the hushed archives of forgotten libraries, the orphan trains whisper their final secrets. It is 1925, and a curious historian named Eleanor Hargrove stumbles upon a cryptic ledger tucked within a dusty tome at the Library of Congress. This ledger, aged and fragile, lists the names of children who never appeared in any official census or adoption records. Each entry is accompanied by strange symbols, reminiscent of ancient runes, and an enigmatic phrase, "Guardians of the Veil." Hargrove's attempts to publish her findings meet with resistance, her manuscript rejected by every major publisher, as if an unseen force shadows her every step. Meanwhile, in a remote village in the Appalachian Mountains, echoes of the orphan trains continue to ripple through time. In 1926, locals discover a hidden cave adorned with petroglyphs eerily similar to those found in the ledger. This cave, nestled in a grove of ancient trees, evokes a sense of otherworldly tranquility, as if it exists outside the bounds of time. The symbols, glistening in the light of torches, depict figures and forms not seen in any known culture, hinting at a communion between the children and an ancient, forgotten wisdom. In the bustling heart of New York City, a gathering of descendants from the orphan trains assembles in 1927. They come with stories woven through generations, tales of extraordinary abilities and dreams that transcend the ordinary. Among them is a man named Victor, who reveals a family heirloom, a compass-like device that defies explanation, pointing not north, but to an unseen destination. This gathering becomes a crucible for shared memories, where personal anecdotes weave a tapestry of connections, linking the descendants to an ancient lineage beyond mere happenstance. In 1928, a breakthrough occurs in a small laboratory tucked away in the backstreets of Philadelphia. A scientist, inspired by the enigmatic patterns of the orphan train ledger, deciphers a hidden code within the petroglyphs. This code, far more than a mere curiosity, reveals a sequence of mathematical principles that challenge the very fabric of known science. As the discovery gains attention, the laboratory inexplicably burns to the ground, and the scientist vanishes into obscurity, leaving behind only fragments of his breakthrough, a testament to the lengths to which powers will go to guard their secrets. As the curtain closes on the orphan trains, their legacy weaves a complex narrative that defies conventional explanation. The last whispers of this tale find resonance in 1929, when a hidden vault is discovered beneath the ruins of an old train station in Missouri. Inside, relics of an unknown civilization, intricately carved stones and metallic discs, lay untouched by time. These artifacts, shimmering with an ethereal luminescence, seem to pulse with life. As the vault is sealed once more, its contents left to the guardians of history, the orphan trains remain a tantalizing enigma, a story that beckons the curious to venture into the depths of forgotten lore, where the truths of the past await those brave enough to seek them.